Hello, everyone. This is your loving host, radio and TV personality, and best selling author, Dr. Afshan Hashmi. And I am best selling author of two books. Please go and buy these two books and give me an honest review. And this first book was Amazon not only bestseller but also a hot number one new release. And these two books were Amazon bestsellers, and through the sale of these books and sponsorships, I finance these kind of creative activities and these kind of programs. This program will be syndicated worldwide to 300 million listeners. So if you give me sponsorship, just imagine your product will be promoted in such a grand way and in a very reasonable price. And you can contact me at Afshan at drafshanhashmi.com. Having said that, friends, now today in Crime Stories by Dr. Afshan Hashmi, I will be talking about the death of famous yesteryear's Bollywood actress Priya Rajvansh. And for those of you who don't know who Priya Rajvansh was, I am reading this from Wikipedia, and it says Priya Rajvansh, 30th December 1936 to 27 March 2000, born Vera Sundar Singh, was an Indian actress who is known for her performance in Hindi films like Heer Ranjha 1970 and Haste Zakham 1973, amongst a handful of films she did during her career. Murder Most Foul, remembering actor Priya Rajvansh on her 19th death anniversary, and this came in the Print India Journal on 27th March 2019. And this article is by Astha Singh, and it says the print looks back at the journey of the actor who starred in just seven films, all directed by her long term partner Chetan Anand. New Delhi: Priya Rajvansh had few films to her credit in a 22-year career, seven to be precise, but the actor still managed to carve out a niche for herself, and it had little to do with her unfortunate end. In a limited uh, career, Rajvansh born Veera Sundar Singh worked with some of Hindi film industry's stalwarts, but most prominently her partner and filmmaker Chetan Anand from the war film Haqiqat 1964 to reincarnation drama Qudrat 1981. However, after a much publicized and long-standing relationship with Anand, which came to define her, she was murdered on 27th March 2000. On her 19th death anniversary, the print looks back at the journey of the actor, exposure to London. In the public domain, little has been reported about Rajvansh's early days, but this much is known: she graduated from the Premier Institute Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA, in London right before she landed her first offer in the film industry. One of her brothers, Kanwar Singh, once recalled that his sister had always wanted to be an actor and excelled at her school, Auckland House in Shimla, the city where she was born and grew up. She moved to London after her father was transferred to the city as a forest conservator by the United Nations. It was while she was in London that a photograph of hers made its way to Bombay, now Mumbai, only to be spotted by acclaimed filmmaker Chetan Anand, brother of famed star Devanand and director Vijay Anand. Film career. Subsequently, Rajvansh got her first role in Anand's war film Haqiqat in 1964, which is often considered by many as one of the best war films to have been made in India. Interestingly, the other six films that Priya acted in were all directed by Chetan Anand. Rajvansh's brother said Anand never let her be part of films directed by others. Kanwar said, Chetan Anand was the man who made Priya and also the man who marred her. In fact, he was the biggest tragedy that could ever happen to her. for her second film Heer Ranjha 1970, which was based on the popular Punjabi folk tale and written entirely in verse. Rajvansh received much recognition. Her next film, Hindustan Ki Qasam 1973, centered on the 1971 India-Pakistan War, didn't do well at the box office but was yet another reminder of Anand's pursuit of cinematic excellence. Rajvansh here had a double role. One of her characters was a spy who was deliberately positioned in Pakistan by the Indian forces to retrieve sensitive information, quite akin to Alia Bhatt's character in Meghna Gulzar's Rasi from last year. Her next four films were Haste Zakham 1973, Sahab Bahadur 1977, Qudrat 1981, and Haathon Ki Lakirein 1986. One of the seven films Priya did, she had the opportunity to work with all the three Anand brothers. Kanwar also said that Rajvan's contribution to Anand's films wasn't restricted to just acting, she also contributed significantly to other aspects of the filmmaking process. Relationship with Anand. Rajvansh's relationship with Anand remained the central focus of media's portrayal of her life. Although the two never married, she held an important place in the filmmaker's life. Film journalist Sheila Vesona described Rajvansh's relationship with Anand as she was not a live in, she was too classy and dignified to be termed a mistress. She could be at best called his companion and true lover. Vesona wrote of Rajvansh as a reserved individual who shunned the limelight beyond her professional duties. After Anand died in 1997, he left behind a will according to which Rajvansh was one of the three beneficiaries. Apart from filmmakers' two sons, Ketan and Vivek, they had equal ownership and rights to his bungalow in Mumbai's Juhu. Tragic death. Although Rajvansh had her own flat in Mumbai, she used to frequently visit Anand at his residence. The filmmaker's death, however, changed things for Rajvansh. Reports suggested that she wanted to sell the bungalow, however, differences cropped up with Ketan and Vivek on this issue. On 27 March 2000, Rajvansh was murdered at Chetan Anand's bungalow. 2 years later, on 31st July 2002, Mala Chaudhary and Ashok Chinnaswamy, domestic help at the Bangla, were convicted of the murder, while Vivek and Ketan were convicted for plotting to murder Rajvansh after having been initially absorbed of the charges in 2001. The four moved the Bombay High Court in 2002 against the verdict and were granted bail. Then in 2011, the High Court accepted the appeals filed by the two brothers against their guilty verdict. The print spoke to a lawyer in the know of the case who said that the brothers' appeal is still stuck in the High Court. And this is an article of 2019 in a print. And having said that, friends, so this was the story of the tragic death of Priya Rajvansh. And now, friends, I wanted to remind you that these are my two books and they were Amazon bestsellers. Please go and buy these two books and give me an honest review. And for my second book, The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection, I want a movie to be made. So, all those Hollywood, Bollywood, Netflix, Peacock, Amazon, Apple Plus, Roku, and whoever makes movies or web series or TV serials, please contact me at Afshan at drafshanhashmi.com, and please do give me sponsorship for this show, as this show is syndicated worldwide to 300 million listeners. So just imagine, if you give me sponsorship, your product will be promoted in a very reasonable price to 300 million listeners. Having said that, friends, now I will sign off from this episode, and cheers and bye bye.